What's up, everybody? Sysadmin Sean here with another sysadmin struggle video for you today. We are going to get back to the proxmox stuff. I'm just trying to decide if I want to order more equipment or keep going with what I've got. But we will keep that series going. Do not worry. But today, sysadmin struggles, I want to talk about promotions. I realize that a lot of this channel's content is focused towards newer sysadmins, folks who are wanting to learn those skills and get into the sysadmin employment track and kind of build up their technical knowledge. But there comes a point in your technical career where if you're successful and you do a good job, and depending on where you work and who you work with, you will be bumped into a non-technical role. You will get promoted. You will probably want these promotions because you want to grow and develop as a technician, as a sysadmin, as an employee at a company. But you will move into situations where you become less and less of the technical aspect and more of the managerial people person aspect. And this is something that comes up a lot, especially in IT, in that there's always a concern that, oh, hey, do we really promote this person? They're a technical person. Do they know how to work with people? Or, well, if we bring in this person that's really good with people, they don't understand the technical aspects of what our job does. So they really can't manage us very well. There's a lot of conflict there. And I kind of want to just bring that up, especially due to recent events. So I've recently been promoted to interim manager, which is basically a placeholder position. My manager, who I'm temporarily replacing, has been promoted as well to another interim role. So we had to have someone step into his role so that they can take care of the responsibilities related to managing the team, managing team's time, priority focus, project design, project request, implementation, kind of guiding the team. They know how to do the technical side, but they need to know which projects they need to be working on when and how important they are and when results need to happen. That's what the managerial side is for. Now, in a lot of places, a manager will also still do some technical tasks. It really just depends on the organization and how big they are, how many people they have, things of that nature. For instance, in my situation right now, I'm still doing my previous role, but to a lesser extent as I'm doing this new primary role, which has completely adjusted my responsibilities. Now, you might say, oh, wow, that sounds like exactly what I want to do. I want to be a sysadmin for a few years, and then I want to get promoted. I want to lead a team. I want to be that beacon that helps get things done. And you might think that way until you actually get into the role and then realize that it's more about, yes, you're leading this team, but you need to be helping them grow. You need to be helping them develop. You need to be helping guide them towards doing the work you were doing and you not doing that work. That is one of the big things that I've seen a lot of supervisors do, where they're happy to be a supervisor because they're happy they're getting a pay raise and, they've got these new responsibilities, but they still want to do the technical side. They want to get their hands dirty. They want to get in there. They want to be a part of the team that does the work. And at a certain point, you just cannot do that. You have to let your team do it because they're the ones that need to grow and succeed. They're the ones that need to get a better set of skills. If you keep taking on tasks and projects that they would learn from, you're a detriment to your team as a manager. So that's one of those first things you have to realize when you become more of a supervisor, a lead, a senior, a manager, any of those type of roles. You need to pull yourself back from a lot of the work if it is, an opportunity. There are situations where you just have to be in there too because there's a lack of people to cover the workload. That goes into a whole other topic about managing workloads and resource utilization, and another thing that IT fails at quite a lot from what I've seen. So anyway, let's say, all right, you've been promoted. You're now a manager. You're getting used to some things. It's going to be scary. It's basically like day one on a job again, the first time, because you're going to run into a lot of things that you have not done before. You're going to have to deal with a lot of situations that are way outside of your normal comfort zone. And you've got to think about all these things. You've got to handle stuff like, employee reviews, critical employee feedback. How do you become the supervisor when just a week before you were at the same level as your coworkers? You're now there. They come to you for help, and that's what they should be doing. But you have to also take on that role of understanding that you have to start a disconnect with them. You can be buddy, but you still have to be the boss sometimes. And that's hard for a lot of IT folks to transition to. I make the joke a lot. You can't reboot people. We're used to a situation where if a server is acting up, if an application's having a problem, you restart the service, you reboot the computer, things get fixed. It doesn't work the same way as a manager. You have to work with the tools and resources that are available for the new infrastructure that you manage. And that infrastructure is people. They're not computers. They are breathing, living people with feelings and dreams of their own and goals that they want to set. So you have to help them do those things. And you can't just yum update -y. They aren't going to get better with patches. That's not an option. They're going to get better with training sessions. They're going to get better with team meetings. They're going to get better with a different set of utilities than what you're used to using as a sysadmin. All of that to say, while that's really cool and it's great and it feels amazing, when you start kind of seeing them excel, it's a slower process. A lot of sysadmin folks that I know enjoy that instant satisfaction of fixing something. Oh, it's fixed. I feel so much better now. I can get that off my plate. You don't get that next day feeling when you're in a manager role. This is something where you see success months down the road, years down the road. An example is I had a student worker for basically a half of a semester. And when they started, they were sort of, they didn't seem really organized. They didn't seem like they were kind of focused on the work. They didn't seem all that interested, but they did the work. They worked with me. I gave them a lot of education, and I tried to do basically what I do on my YouTube channel, but for them at work. And they went through the rest of the semester. They did a great job. We had some roadblocks along the way, but that's just life and work in general. But after that was done, I recently followed them on LinkedIn, and I see that they had won a programming project, and they showed off all of their code and how they used VS Code and talked about all of their planning and processing. And I was really proud to see that growth. The same thing happened when I was an esports coach. I had these students, and you see them when they start, and then as they go through school, you see them graduate, and it's a really great feeling, but it takes a long time to graduate. Not everyone does it, in 4 years. Not everyone does it in 8 years. Some folks stay for the long haul. They want to get that master's degree. But again, you don't get that instant satisfaction that you get from working in IT with working with people. You get a much slower burn, but if you look for it, you're going to see how you helped enhance that person's job and their life. And, you try to do everything you can to make it better. You've probably also been in situations, for those of you that are sysadmins now, you've had managers that are less than good at what they're doing. They are either, again, always down in the weeds doing something technical, which does not help you. They do not know the proper processes for onboarding or offboarding or making purchases or anything that you might need. Hey, I need this tool. I'm not going to buy that. I don't know how. You run into these really weird situations with these folks, and you're like, how did they get into this role? And sometimes you might talk with your other coworkers who might have been there longer and say, oh yeah, they got bumped into that role after they did a really good job 10 years ago doing da-da-da-da-da-da. And that brings up something that we toss around a lot in the IT world. I don't know if it's as popular now as it used to be. It's called the Peter Principle. It's a book from 1969 that's kind of lays out this theory that if you're good at a job, you'll get promoted into a new job. And if you're good at that job, you will get promoted again, and so on and so forth, until you get to the point where you're actually terrible at your job because you never picked up the skills that you needed to pick up along the way to continue getting better and improving yourself. I've witnessed this before. I've had folks that I saw in managerial roles who weren't my manager, but I would talk to my manager and be like, how are they a manager? It doesn't seem like they're putting in a lot of effort to help get their workers the training and the workload and the organization that they need. And they would say, well, this person was a mainframe administrator, or this person handled this certain ancient software and they did a great job at it. They were really good when it was that one thing, but then they got promoted into a supervisor role and they just stopped learning. They thought that they were fine where they were at. They didn't want to get any better at their job, so they just stopped doing anything to make their workers better or make themselves better. And that's kind of the basis of the Peter Principle, is that you get to a point where you stop trying and you just sort of coast, so to speak. You got to watch out for that when you become a manager. It's something that I'm struggling with right now. Even though it's an interim, which technically means it could possibly be very temporary, that doesn't mean I can just coast through it and say, you guys get to do all the technical work. I'm going to chill and make sure that no one, gets in a fight with anybody else, that everyone stays above board as far as HR is concerned. That is the base minimum that I could do in a managerial role. And that is not what you want to do in a managerial role. You want to be effectively looking for ways to make yourself better through training. And you effectively want to make your team better through training and exercise and practice and workload and balance. And you want to pick up all of these new skills that you definitely did not learn while you were learning all of your technical skills. So that's the big thing about this video today is just promotions are great. There is usually a really great structure of help desk to advanced help desk, senior help desk, over to system administrator, into, senior system administrator, so on and so forth. And then you're going to hit this wall where it shifts from a technical role to a people role. And you have to, understand as a worker that being a manager is not the easiest thing in the world. It's very stressful. It can really ruin people's lives, basically, because they worry so much about what they're doing and if they're doing a good job. And then there's the other half of it where you're just such a bad manager and you're not worrying at all that you've actually made everything around your team worse, which makes them worse, which makes just a bad overall experience for everyone. So take that with you and think about that when you're getting into your first sysadmin role. You're looking at what the org chart says, maybe I want to be a lead, maybe I want to be a senior. But, but there's a director position. Maybe I want to become a CIO at some point. Maybe I want to become a CISO at some point. When you hit those higher level roles, that's when you start losing your technical skills. And unless you're practicing at home all the time and keeping up with everything, it's going to be a lot harder for you to maintain those technical skills. And you really shouldn't need them, to be perfectly honest. When you move into these more managerial roles, you need more soft skills. And that's why I promote that all the time for anything related to what you do as a sysadmin. Build those soft skills, work on your communication skills, work on your collaboration skills, work on anything that will make you a better employee for everyone around you, so that when you do get promoted into these roles, you can then give those skills back to everyone and they can grow with those skills. So that's it. That's a big struggle. Promotions. Think about it. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you hear. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like what you hear. But either way, we'll see you in the next one.